Polipede works here, and woohoo, boy, I called some stuff. Let's get into it.
I am pirate! Frankie Shogun!
So, first things first, 1061, big chapter, interesting chapter. Jinbei's bad at his job. Because what happens is that the crew gets into some trouble with a giant metal shark, which is on the ocean. He gives Frankie permission to helm the ship, where he goes in and saves Luffy, who was trying to save Bonnie and Chomper, right? Okay, a little context. The reason why I'm a little tested as to why Jinbei abandons his post to go obviously save Luffy, Chomper, and Bonnie is because Sanji sees this as well. He's the premier observation hockey user in the crew, and he has an ability called Blue Walk, which is the underwater version of the CP9's technique Moonwalk, which means he is very capable of doing the same. In fact, when he first uses this move, when the crew is going to Fishman Island at the start of the time skip, he is said to be as fast as a fishman. And this was under many, many, many meters of underwater pressure. So, based on all the upgrades he's gotten since then, saving them should be no feat for him. Also, a woman is involved, so it's prime Sanji territory to do so in this situation. Jinbei doing it is a little nonsensical, especially since this is his first outing as the helmsman of the ship. It would make more sense for him to actually try to steer through these severe waters, since he does have feats that would overmatch the conditions present here. So with that, back to the video. Never have I ever seen Frankie abandon his duties as a shipwright and leave those duties to, say, Usopp. Never have I ever seen Nami leave navigating to anybody else. Never have I ever seen Sanji let Zoro cook. But today I have read that Jinbei left the helm to Frankie. After all that rigmarole in Whole Cake Island about how he can surf the Sunny and how he can overcome all these dangerous obstacles, we fold to the first real adventure that requires his expertise. I am lost. I am baffled and I am shocked. There will be a big video later on. I don't know when, but it will be later on about Jinbei specifically. I am shocked. And then he goes on to say the waters were too severe to steer a ship in. But isn't that the reason why you're here, Mr. Fishman guy, who's good at helming ships because you're an experienced pirate, a seasoned pirate? I'm lost. I'm baffled. Lost, baffled, and shocked. Funny thing though, when the rabbit launcher popped out, the rabbit screw propeller, I did think it was Carrot. I'm still on Carrot watch because I'm just still waiting for her. Let's put it that way. I'm still waiting for her. I'm not lost on hope, but I'm still waiting. But it's a cool new addition to the Sunny. It's a cool heel attachment weapon. I like it. Very nice. But it's interesting that kind of Frankie went to his expertise that he knows, which is the inner workings of the ship. But that's supposed to be a different thing from helming. Okay, I'm over it. Let's move forward. Okay, so big metal shark, ship capsizes, everyone's in danger. By the way, the metal shark is very similar to the submarine the Straw Hats have, which is also a shark. But as we find out later, this shark is programmed to act like a regular shark, which is very interesting. And it is punched by a very interesting mech, and it has a star on it. If you watched my Vegapunk is Super video, I mentioned this. Vegapunk does annotate creations with stars. Some of them at least. Okay. And this is a very important one, as we'll see later, but that's very interesting. It does have like little wings on it, like an Air Force symbol, but it is a complete star. It is. It's not like the criminal brand star that has a slash through it. It is a complete star, which is very interesting. But okay, yeah, the big robot punches the crap out of the shark, which this shark reminds me of, I don't know how many people know about this movie, but it's by Tim Burton. It's a Disney movie. It's called James and the Giant Peach. It's a movie adaptation of the book, Ronald Dahl, I believe. And in the movie, which is not in the book, there's this giant metal shark that attacks the giant peach. Very cool scene. It blows up in spectacular fashion, not unlike the shark here. So very cool. I like it. Then we are shown G14, and I will admit openly and wholeheartedly, I was wrong about the Seraphim being the kids from Punkcaster. I am actually relieved because for not seeing them in so long, I was convinced that Vegapunk was more nefarious than he let on. I was absolutely convinced, but I was wrong. I am happy I was wrong. And we see Tashigi. Great. I'm happy about this. No animosity. I'm not salty or anything. No, I'm actually glad because, ooh, that was dark. Very dark. And the kids are shrinking, though I can't really tell because they're all big. And the fact that we see Mocha is great. Then we are introduced to the G14 commander, Vice Admiral Doll, and she is a baddie. I love her design. She is hot. Rule 34, watch out. You got fresh meat. We're also introduced to Navy HQ commander and part of SWORD, Tabari. And then Helmeppo, who are both crying about Kobe being kidnapped, and they want to send a PX unit, Seraphim, to help to go save him, but that's a no can do. Then we are introduced to Navy HQ Rear Admiral, also part of SWORD, Prince Bruce. Prince Bruce, very interesting. He appeared in the Capone Beige cover story, where Capone's boy Gotti gets married to Lola. So we see him there. So that's really cool. He's showing up again. Very cool, very cool. I love his design too. He's got the big hat with the big bib. Very, very punk, very street. I like it. Much cool. And then we get a back shot of Bonnie, which wow. Yeah, I like Bonnie a lot. Bonnie's good. Bonnie's very good. Interesting enough, she actually brings up the difference in the Bonnie poster, which is the first time someone actually notices the difference between how the bounty poster of Luffy was beforehand and how it was how it is now. And he calls her Boogie, which is very funny. And he denotes a Gear 5th as when he feels the most free, which is a very coded message, which is interesting. Also, side note, I counted, Oda does not want to draw Jinbei's, well, Jinbei. The robot's called a Jinbei. That's the joke about his character. That's the whole thing. But yeah, he's naked. Jinbei's naked. And that's when you see the first real full body shot of him. Which, I mean, it makes sense because without the robe, he is a big sphere, which makes him very easy to draw. I'm really confused about that, though, because you would think when drawing a manga week to week, it would be really hard to keep up with this elaborate mosaic. Okay, we're not going to be on that. Moving on. So, Bonnie has some business with Vegapunk and she came alone. I think all her crew is dead, personally, but okay, moving on. And we find out we are actually on Egghead, which is the island that's said to be 500 years in the future. Okay, so, drawing some parallels here. Egghead could mean just like a smart person, because that's like a insult you usually call a smart person, but it's kind of interesting from how it looks because it's covered in palm trees, which one of my friends brought this up. It's giving me Sonic vibes, like an Eggman labyrinth, like Eggman from Sonic, with the robots as well, robot animals that act like real animals. So this is also a Eggman-ism. Okay, so the giant robot, the Vegaforce, which is numbered number 12. So that's interesting. The shark is number 3, and the giant robot, which looks like the Iron Giant a little bit, also looks like General Frankie to me a little bit. And it also has a stomach hatch like General Frankie. And of course, Frankie and Usopp are starry-eyed over it, as they would be. Everyone else is kind of confused about it. And then out pops this baddie who calls herself Vegapunk. Now, here's the thing about this. Since she has a 2 on her leotard, right? That she's probably either the child of Vegapunk or Vegapunk is in a different body, alluding to Vegapunk has a bunch of different bodies that he can jump into. And I would add on it to say Punk is probably the denotation of all the bodies. Whereas with the robot, for example, the Vegaforce, that's another line of robot. That's another line of thing that Vegapunk uses. I would think that maybe Vegapunk has some sort of devil fruit that's more along the lines of Big Mom and Brooke and a little bit of Perona, because it's been noted that Vegapunk is a he. So perhaps he can actually take his consciousness and move it between different bodies. And then when he does, the consciousness also takes the devil fruit essence with it, because as you may or may not know, with devil fruits, most of the time they're bound to the body that eats the fruit. That's why Brook, when he died, he had to return to his body. But perhaps here with this particular devil fruit, that's not the case. Perhaps if Vegapunk has such a fruit, it will transfer from body to body to body, or maybe it keeps a log of all the bodies it's been in. So if that body gets killed, Vegapunk will just shift back to another body. I do think this clone body is like, I don't think it's an android or anything like that. I think it's actually a body that he grew for himself, and he just swaps between this and presumably many others. It's not even too sure that the original Vegapunk is alive, like his original body, because perhaps, like I said with this fruit, perhaps it allows him just to shift. Or maybe that's not even the case. Maybe he's found a way to attach his devil fruit essence to his soul, so that when he does pass from body to body, the essence just goes with, since he is the lead person when it comes to devil fruit technology. So yeah, that's very possible. Or it could be simply he's just transferring his consciousness from body to body to body with no devil fruit required. That's also a possibility. But yeah, lots of fan service this chapter. I'm not complaining about it though. Very good. Vegapunk, the Vegapunk we see anyway, her design is actually pretty baller. I like it a lot. I like the puffy leather jacket, the little aviator helmet, all good stuff. Also to note, she does wear goggles while piloting her mecha like Frankie, which is very interesting. And like I alluded to earlier, the mecha has a star on it. So the mecha, via taking out the shark and housing one of Vegapunk's bodies, presumably, the mecha is very important. It's probably one of Vegapunk's more prized creations because it bears a star. And with that, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. We're on break next week, so there's going to be an influx of videos from me, and so look out for those. If you like stuff like this, please feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Polipede Works. And if you like what you see, I would appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much. See you next time.